Welcome to White Slash. I'm glad to have you on my channel. Let's jump in today's story. My MIL cannot think of anyone else but herself. My FIL had passed away when my husband was only 7 years old, and as it was their love marriage, my MIL could not move on for years and also became sensitive. As she got the attention from her family and in-laws, as well as who looked after her, she had become a narcissist and believed that she was entitled to the attention of everyone. You can now imagine how much she must be attached to her son, my husband, and also how she could not bear me. When my husband first told her that he was dating and wanted to introduce me to her, she told him that she was not even interested. When we became comfortable and had built an understanding, we wanted to move in together, but my MIL had a lot of problems with that. She told my husband that I was just trying to settle down as he earned well and I could not get a better option. I was shocked when my husband shared that with me as I earned more than him. My MIL kept telling my husband that he could not move in with me as she had never lived without him. My husband did not listen to her, and we moved in together. A week went by, and my MIL showed up with her brother, my husband's uncle, and both of them lectured my husband on how irresponsible he was and had left his mom behind. Uncle reminded my husband how my MIL had struggled all her life to raise him and did not even remarry. I interrupted him and asked how my MIL had struggled as she had never worked and was financed by her family. He could not take my question and told me to shut up. I told my uncle that he had to leave right away. He looked at my husband in shock and was even more shocked when my husband told him the same. My MIL called my husband and told him that his uncle was upset and he had to apologize. She also said that he was the one who took responsibility and never let her work. My husband told her that it was him who misbehaved first, and if it's all about the financial support he had given, my husband was ready to repay him but would not take disrespect. He also told her that she had to understand that he was grown up and could take decisions by himself without her approval. I thought my MIL would have got her lesson, but she could just not share her son. It was her birthday and she invited my husband only. When my husband inquired about why she did not invite me, she said that she did not want to pretend to like people at her own party. My husband told her that he would not attend the party if I was not invited, and hung up. I talked to him and told him that he was being kiddish and did not have to act like that. I said that my MIL was keeping a distance and that was better than staying around but being bitter. So, my husband attended her birthday party, and when he was about to leave, she asked what I had sent her as a gift. My husband was of course surprised and asked how was I supposed to buy her a gift when I was not even attending the party. She started crying and told him that I did not even care about her. She also said that if I had cared, I would have bought a gift for her even when I was not attending the party as she deserved it. My husband came back and told me about that, and to be honest, it was quite funny for me and I had a good laugh. As we got engaged, that woman was furious and kept telling everyone that her son was under some kind of spell. She then came over one day and told my husband that if we wanted to get married, we had to move in with her as she could not lose a son to a witch. My husband told her that she was going to lose her son just because of her negativity and nothing else. Well, we somehow dodged her and made her understand that we had our own life together and needed to be left alone. A month passed and my MIL called my husband and told him that she wanted to talk about something important. She told him that his uncle had done his part and now it was her husband's responsibility to finance her. My husband was already giving her an amount monthly, but she wanted him to take up all the expenses. My husband told him that it would be difficult for him to run 2 homes and she should start doing something side by side. She said that she already had told us to move in with her, but we were not ready to, and now she did not care how he was going to manage. My husband is already paying installments for the apartment too, and he is worried as there is no other way. I do not think my MIL is going to back off. Update 1. We had not decided yet, and my MIL never skipped a day without calling us and asking what we had planned. When my husband told her that it was very difficult for him to manage her expenses too, she asked him if he wanted her to rely on his uncle for a lifetime when her son was earning well. My husband suggested that she could do some work and earn a bit to manage some of the expenses, and he could take care of the others. She started weeping and told him that she never knew her only son would suggest she work when she was old and depended on him. She had put a lot of pressure on him, and my husband knew he had to do something. She also kept telling us to move in with her so we would not have to manage bills for 2 houses. I told my husband that moving in with her was not an option and he had to think of something. We have argued several times, but nothing is settled yet. Update 2. So we decided that my husband was going to pay bills for both the houses and was also going to pay the installments, while I had to manage the groceries and give money to MIL for her expenses. As my husband had to pay the installments and they were remaining for a year and a half, he promised that he was going to repay me after he was done with the installments. I had 2 bank accounts and told my MIL that she could use one of them and I would transfer a certain amount there every month. A couple of months passed and we found out that my MIL was still taking financial help from her brother. My husband was furious and confronted her, but she said that her brother had only given her some cash to buy something for herself. My husband went to see his uncle, and instead of explaining, he started bashing my husband and told him that he was looking for reasons to give up on his responsibilities. My husband told my MIL that she had to start doing something and he was not going to help her financially for long. Update 3. My MIL not only made my husband take care of her expenses, but also kept demanding things and gifts now and then. She had also not even tried to do something to look after her expenses or at least help my husband with half of them. Our anniversary was around and she kept asking us what we were going to buy for her. I told her that it was our anniversary and she was the one who was supposed to buy us a gift. She knew about our anniversary date plan and showed up at the restaurant. She started yelling and saying that I was making her son spend on lavish restaurants when he was already burdened by the expenses. She also said that we could not buy a gift for her but were celebrating in an expensive restaurant. I told her that she did not have to worry as I had already cut half of the expenses. She was confused, and then I told her to check her mail. I had transferred back all the amount from the account she was using to my current account, and she had nothing left. She stood stunned for a minute and then tried to talk to me when I called the guard and told him to throw her out. We had a great date afterward, while my MIL kept calling my husband as I had already blocked her. Update 4. My MIL kept calling my husband, but he did not respond. She then showed up at his office and told him that she wanted a last chance and would never disturb us again, but my husband got her thrown out of the office. She kept visiting our apartment, but we did not open the door for her. She then showed up with her brother one day, and that made my husband furious. He went outside and told them to get lost. His uncle tried to raise his voice, but my husband did not let him. As my MIL was not giving up on calling my husband, he picked up and told her that she had to manage her expenses herself, as he was not going to spend even a penny on her. He also told her that he was going to block her, and if she tried to show up at our place, he was going to file for a restraining order against her. My MIL has not contacted us after that. Opinion 1. NTA. If I were in the place of OP, I would have left as it was clear that the MIL was not going to leave them alone. Also, the way OP's husband supported her and dealt with the situation is commendable. He knew how his mom was and handled her well. Also, he made sure OP did not have to take any financial pressure, even when MIL had pressurized him to that extent. Opinion 2. NTA. OP's MIL was not only a narcissist, but a gold digger too. She wanted her son not only because she was attached to him, but also because she wanted him to spend on her only. She could not bear OP because she thought she was the only one who could take attention as well as money from her son. The MIL had been looting her brother forever and now wanted to loot her son. 30F. I have 2 sons. I left their father, 29M, 5 years ago after he chose his mother over me and the kids. I got an apartment and he refused to move in because mommy convinced him not to. Despite the ill blood his mother and I had in the past, we overlooked this for the children's sake and built what I thought was a pretty solid foundation to a certain degree of trust and respect. She took the kids every few months despite her son failing to continue visitation with his children. Last year, she was diagnosed with a disorder that makes her lose weight, lose hair, and bruise easily. It does not cause her pain, but it has triggered insecurity, understandably. During this time, she started lashing out on me pretty frequently, just being incredibly bitchy for no reason, and would pull the "I won't let people walk all over me" lines. I am assuming that due to her insecurities following the diagnosis, she also became paranoid because no one was walking on or bashing this woman. But regardless, I became her boxing ring basically, and 3 months back, she pushed it too far. I had made a comment about her son never seeing the kids, and she freaks out. Calls me childish, says, "I told you not to effing bash me." I clearly wasn't. And says some backhanded comment about knowing how I am and being able to read between the lines. So I went NC after basically telling her she was full of crap and I was done being her doormat. During this time, her son also coincidentally started asking for visits with our children again, which I allowed, supervised by me, as he hadn't seen the kids in a stupid amount of time. The kids wanted to go. When he shows up, he starts talking about his mother and how her condition has worsened and that I should be more understanding of her illness and accept that she's just angry right now. I told him it was no excuse for the way she spoke to me and had been speaking to me for months leading up to that. And until she took accountability and apologized, I would not be accepting the treatment simply because she is ill. He didn't push the issue. However, his mom reached out through text yesterday and said something to the effect of, "Well, you know how I am. Stress doesn't set well with me." No apology, just her saying I know how she is, so I shouldn't be angry. I basically told her that it doesn't matter how she is. And considering she was calling me childish months ago, she should take that statement and reflect on it because she is the one acting childish. Especially with her lack of self-awareness or ability to take accountability and just apologize. She stops responding. I'm being told by my ex that I'm an AH because this is his mother's way of apologizing and I need to be more understanding. AITA? Opinion 1. NTA. Explanation is not equal to excuse. She may have an explanation as to why she is acting that way, but it does not remove accountability for her actions. When she's wrong, she still needs to apologize. Why do you care if the ex is calling you an AH anyway? He's clearly one for abandoning his kids for so long. Don't let an AH make you feel like one. Opinion 2. NTA. Being ill is a reason for being a grouchy jerk, but it does not excuse it. This is doubly so when the ill person recognizes it, as that shows they are just using their illness as a way to try to get away with being crappy. You are right. You do not deserve to be anyone's doormat. If she wants to resume relations, all she has to do is apologize and show a genuine effort to be kind and pleasant, or at least not a B. Best of luck. I see you are trying your best to keep your children engaged with their paternal family, and they are not making it easy on you. So I live close to a lake. like walking distance close. My cousin Will called me about a month ago and asked me if he could come out here and stay with me for a week and do some fishing. I get along with Will, so I agreed, but told him that he would have to entertain himself during the day because I work. I have two jobs. One is M2F, and I bartend on Saturdays and fill in sometimes after work. I like my bartending job for the most part. It's easy money and people are nice. Except there's this guy, Evan. He's always asking me to hang out and won't take a hint. Literally every Saturday. Hey, we should hang out tomorrow, and says whatever we should do. I haven't done anything to show interest and have been short with him, if anything. He just keeps bugging me though. I don't know if he's looking for friendship or more, but I'm not interested in either. Everything was going well. He'd go fishing or find something to do while I was working, and then we'd hang out after I got off. One of the first nights he was here, we went to the bar I work at and got burgers. Evan was there, and of course came up and talked to me and met Will. When he walked away, I told Will that he annoys me and how he keeps bugging me to hang out. Apparently, Will went there for lunch and it was only him, Evan, and the bartender, so him and Evan started talking about fishing and really got along. So, they planned to hang out Wednesday. I said fine, whatever, I don't care, but I don't want to be around him. Will said, well, look at it this way. Maybe he'll leave you alone now. I got off early yesterday and came home. When I walked in my apartment, Will and Evan were both on my couch playing my Xbox. Will jumped up right away and said that they were going to go fishing, but it was supposed to rain, so he figured they'd come here. I told Evan he needed to leave. Then I yelled at Will and asked why the hell he would bring that weirdo over here. Will said, just because you don't like him doesn't mean I can't. I didn't think you'd be home, and I would have made him leave before you got home, so you didn't have to deal with him. I said, you can hang out with whoever you want, but that doesn't mean you bring him here. Now he knows where I live. He kept apologizing, but I was too angry, and I told him he should go home. I guess his mom, my aunt, called my dad, and my dad called me and said Will made a mistake. He's young, 22, and didn't know that I didn't want Evan in my house because I never explicitly said it. Then he said I shouldn't have made him go home because of a misunderstanding. I didn't think I had to tell him not to invite Evan over. I thought it was common sense. Don't invite someone your host doesn't like to their house. Duh. For the record, I'm not afraid of Evan or anything. I'd be just as pissed if it was a woman that annoyed me and Will had them over. AITA for kicking him out. Opinion 1. You don't owe Will or anyone anything. Not your time, not your energy, and absolutely not access to your home. Will did something that made you uncomfortable. If you want a justification, that's enough of one. But you don't need to justify your decision. 22 is plenty old enough to know not to invite someone to someone else's house without getting it cleared first, no matter the other circumstances. NTA. Opinion 2. No, 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 no. NTA. Seriously, is Will a silver spoon child or something? You tell him Evan annoys you, and Will takes him to your house. Maybe if Will was 12, I can see excusing his lapse of judgment, but nope. 22 is not so young that one would not know not to invite people to what is not your house. And especially if you already told him you don't want to be around Evan. Not out in public, so how does he not get you wouldn't want him in your private space? I own my apartment. And unless you're family or a longtime friend, and sometimes even then, you are not coming over. You are not finding out where my bed is, where my door is, where my mail is. Will has just had a life lesson, taught the hard way. Don't feel bad about Will. He needed that slap in the face. Opinion 3. NTA. He is a guest and needs your approval to invite someone else. Unless he started paying you rent and didn't inform you about it, He can't just randomly bring people over to your home. I wouldn't be surprised if he told his parents he paid you rent.